Elton Ochieng. Jaod bura ma Naivasha Jane Kihara ochwale nyim doho ma Milimani gi ketho mar bolo weche manyaya thuye kind oganda. Kihara nomaki go kwach kich e odiechieng' manyoro e dalane ka okil mare Ndegwa Njire gi kweth mag okinde mamoko telone e manyo ratiro e doho. Wadhi ane achiel kachiel nyaka e doho ma Milimani wawinjane kaka burano dhi nyime.
Is that the magistracy have the power to interpret and apply the Constitution. Yes, correct. Thank you, sir. 8.1, claims relating to violation of human rights. That subject to Article 165(3)(b), which I'll come to shortly, of the Constitution, and pecuniary limitations set out in Section 7.1, a magistrate's court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine applications. Hear and determine applications for redress of a denial, violation, or infringement of, or threat to right or fundamental freedom in the Bill of Rights. He does excellently well by bringing that out. But he leaves 8.2. Let's go to 8.2. The applications contemplated in subsection 1 shall only relate to the rights guaranteed in Article 25A and B of the Constitution. He deliberately ignored it because we've had this discussion. So that if there were allegations, if their arguments are based on alleged violations of rights or of the Bill of Rights or any provision of the Constitution, if they went outside Article 25A and B, this court must drop its pen in respect of all the other provisions of the Constitution. And that will include Article 10, Article 19, Article 20, Article 21, and Article 27, and 33. But I'll address 33 again shortly. Because you do not have jurisdiction to hear allegations of discriminatory charges, if at all, if that's what they are saying, you would love to, but the Constitution says no. Another fundamental and a very beautiful argument that my learned colleague has made today was in his element, is that Section 94 was enacted on the became effective on 1st of August 1930. I must confess I didn't know, but I believe him. He's a good man. But he then gives the response and says there is Section 7 of Schedule 6, and it tells us what it says, that if there was a law existing before this Constitution, then read it with the necessary adoption, alteration, or amendments to bring it into conformity with this Constitution. So that answers the most difficult question he raised. Can we apply a law that was enacted in 1980 today? The answer is yes, and the reason is Section 7 of Schedule 6 of the Constitution. To that extent, Section 94 of the Penal Code, which was enacted in 1980, and which provides for the offense described in the charge sheet, then is still applicable today. And then there's another fundamental argument, again in this element, that one, you are at the same pedestal with the Parliament by dint of Article 10, that's correct. But that Parliament has been negligent, and that because of their negligence, don't be negligent, help them out. Interestingly, the suspect is a member of Parliament. It's very interesting. So that the suspect was negligent, leading to charges against her. But that is by the wayside. Now, Article 2, which Senior Counsel refers to, and I'll refer the court to Article 2, I think sub-article 2 of Article 2, let me just look at it. And it says, no person may claim or exercise state authority except as authorized under this Constitution. You have no powers to make law. You have no powers to repeal laws. You have no powers to amend laws. That power belongs to Parliament. That Parliament which is inept and or negligent, in the words of the defense, is the only authority under this Constitution to make, amend, or repeal laws. And related to that, therefore, is that as long as that law has not been repealed, it remains part of the law of Kenya. and if that argument is correct, and I believe it is correct, then the argument about Article 50, Subarticle 2N, which is a very easy one to answer as we go on, that every accused person has a right not to be tried for an offense in respect of an act or omission, N, not to be convicted for an act or omission that at the time it was committed or omitted was not an offense in Kenya. This offense is an offense in Kenya since 1980. So until it is repealed, this court and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has an obligation to enforce the law. There were very many fundamental issues of the Constitution. That's why I've taken some time on it. Then there is the question about Article 52B, which I'll marry with what I've just said about 52N. I have tried to persuade other benches of the judiciary, and I will try to persuade you today, that there was a deliberate intention to separate Article 49 and Article 50 of the Constitution. This is what I teach my law students at the Kenya School of Law in my guest lectures. That it was deliberate